You probably know someone like this, a person full of brilliant ideas, grand ambitions, and a sparkle in their eyes, as if destined for something extraordinary. They talk about impressive projects and live in the realm of possibilities, yet nothing ever materializes. Each failure is met with a convenient excuse. It wasn't the right time, it wasn't the right person. The world simply doesn't understand me yet. Maybe he is your childhood friend, your younger brother, your boyfriend, or even your father, someone who, despite their age, seems frozen in time. An adult who behaves like a boy, emotionally fragile, avoiding commitments, always chasing freedom and running away from real responsibility. And perhaps deep down, a part of you still hopes he will change. Carl Jung called this psychological pattern the Puer Aeternus, the eternal boy. It is the archetype of the man who refuses to grow up, living permanently in transition, as if always getting ready to live, but never actually beginning. His youthful energy, creativity, and spontaneity are captivating, but behind this charm lies a shadow, the inability to cope with the demands of real life. The Puer expects life to mold itself around his desires. He believes others will fix for him what he avoids confronting. He dreams of the perfect woman, the perfect job, the perfect existence, and when reality inevitably falls short of his fantasies, he flees, abandons, and returns to the cycle of unfinished dreams. He sees himself as too special to conform to the mediocrity of routine, but in truth, he is paralyzed by fear. Fear of failure, of frustration, of adulthood itself. If you have ever tried to help someone like this, you know how draining it is, offering advice that falls on deaf ears, providing support that gets wasted, trying to motivate someone who deep down does not want to move. And the cruelest part? He often makes you feel guilty, as if you are the one at fault for expecting him to grow, for not accepting to live in a world of eternal almosts. But the truth must be faced. This man you know is trapped in a fantasy of freedom that, in reality, is a prison built from fear and immaturity. And if he doesn't wake up, he will grow old without ever having truly lived. This video isn't an attack. It's a mirror. If you've watched this far, it's because some part of you recognizes this pattern, maybe in someone close, or perhaps within yourself. The journey of the Puer Aeternus doesn't have to end in stagnation, but real change only begins when the truth is faced head-on. Let's dive deeper into that. The Puer Aeternus is not merely a personality trait. It is a profound archetype, a psychic force operating deep in the unconscious of countless men, often mistaken for charisma, spontaneity, or a free spirit. Yet behind this lightness lies something far more serious, an instinctive refusal to grow up. Carl Jung observed this pattern both in his patients and across ancient myths. The Puer appears as the one who refuses to leave the paradise of childhood, the psychic womb of the mother where everything is cared for, protected, and resolved. He lives under the shadow of a promised glorious future that never comes. He is the eternal son of the gods, the chosen one, the special one, but in practice, he never fully takes ownership of his life. You've witnessed this. Men who jump from job to job, always chasing something more meaningful, who launch projects with passion but abandon them at the first challenge, who fall in love deeply but disappear when the relationship demands maturity, who speak of spirituality, self-awareness, and freedom, yet can't pay a bill on time or uphold a commitment for more than a few months. And it's not for lack of intelligence. The Puer is not lacking in talent. In fact, he is often brilliant, sensitive, and full of potential. His connection to creativity, inspiration, and imagination is alive and powerful. But exactly because of this, he remains in the world of ideas and avoids the hard realities of life. He wants to soar without building wings, desires love without commitment, craves success without putting in effort. He dreams of the rewards of adulthood without accepting the cost of growing up. And when life doesn't deliver these things easily, he rebels. He blames the system, blames his parents, blames fate, but never looks inward. Jung observed that the Puer Aeternus lives disconnected from time. He is always caught in a not yet, waiting endlessly for the right moment, the perfect idea, the perfect partner, the perfect opportunity. He lives in the future, never fully present in the now. Because of this, he doesn't truly live. He merely survives, nourished by dreams that eventually become heavy burdens. Yet, there's another side to this story. The Puer, despite his immaturity, holds a force that shouldn't be ignored: the spirit of youth, creative imagination, and the power to reinvent life itself. The problem isn't the existence of the boy within the man. The real issue is when that boy takes over and controls his life. This is what we need to understand next: what happens when the Puer's light begins to fade and his shadow side takes over. Let's now explore the dark side of the eternal boy and how it quietly destroys everything around him. If this message resonates with you, don't forget to click the subscribe button and support the channel. Thank you. There's something magnetic about a man ruled by the Puer Aeternus archetype. He is light-hearted, spontaneous, speaks with the charm of a poet, dreams like a visionary, and seems to live outside of time. He doesn't obey rules, refuses to accept labels, and avoids attachments, and for many, this is incredibly attractive. He appears free and in a world suffocated by duties, commitments, and empty routines. Who doesn't crave freedom? But here lies the danger. This freedom is only an illusion. It's a carefully crafted mask hiding his greatest fear: reality. The Puer isn't truly free. He is a runaway. He escapes pain, failure, rejection, frustration, and the unstoppable march of time. He avoids the weight of making real choices and taking responsibility for his life. Every choice he refuses to make, every decision he delays, every responsibility he shifts onto others, all of these deepen the prison he hides inside, pretending it's independence. You've seen it yourself. He claims he's too unique for a regular job, yet it's not greatness he's after. It's a fear of routine, hierarchy, and commitment. He says he avoids relationships because they are cages, but in truth, he's terrified of intimacy, of being truly seen, of being held accountable. He says he hates rules, but deep down, he simply doesn't know how to cope with limits. The freedom he promises is really just a childish refusal to deal with life's challenges. He wants to stay pure, untouched, and to do that, he keeps moving constantly, like a balloon drifting endlessly in the wind. But time doesn't stop, and eventually, reality demands its price. Carl Jung said that the Puer Aeternus lives suspended, as if floating between heaven and earth. He doesn't want to come down, doesn't want to root himself, doesn't want to face the concrete demands of life. But without roots, nothing grows. Without effort, nothing blossoms. And without pain, no true transformation happens. Real freedom isn't the absence of limits, it's the ability to consciously choose what is worth your dedication. But the Puer doesn't choose, he flees. And in doing so, he not only sabotages his own life, he also slowly destroys the hearts of those who try to love him. This is what we will explore next. The dark side of the Puer Aeternus, when potential turns to destruction. Let's dive deeper into the shadow that this archetype carries and see how it slowly eats away at everything around it. At first, everything seems magical. The Puer Aeternus shines with an energy that draws people in, inspires them, and creates a feeling of wonder. He's passionate, full of excitement, unpredictable. But as time passes, that sparkle begins to dim. What once felt like lightness turns into absence, sensitivity morphs into emotional instability, and what seemed like freedom is revealed to be nothing more than avoidance. This is when the shadow of the Puer starts to appear. The dark side of the eternal boy is sneaky. It shows itself in small daily acts of self-sabotage. He forgets important promises, misses deadlines, struggles with money, changes his mind suddenly, and breaks commitments. Yet he wraps all of this in poetic excuses. I'm not ready, I don't want to force it, I need more time. The harsh reality is much simpler. He is scared of growing up, scared of failing, scared of judgment, scared of being just average. So, without even realizing it, he ruins anything that demands true maturity. And this doesn't just hurt him, it affects everyone around him. Romantic partners suffer from loving a man who seems amazing in spirit but is missing in reality. He says he loves them but disappears. He says he wants a future but never moves towards it. Family members feel frustrated watching him waste his talent, intelligence, and opportunities. Friends grow tired of helping someone stuck in a never-ending cycle of almost. At the heart of it all, there's a painful truth. He seems unable to grow up, trapped in a permanent emotional adolescence. And like every deep archetype, the shadow of the Puer feeds off the unconscious. He doesn't see that he is hurting himself. Worse, he believes others are the problem. He calls the world boring, strict, and controlling. He sees those who mature as traitors to freedom. And so he isolates himself even more, thinking he's staying true to himself, when really he's a prisoner of fear. Carl Jung said, "We don't find enlightenment by imagining light, but by making the darkness conscious." The Puer's shadow isn't something to be denied, it must be faced. The problem isn't that he carries a child within him, the problem is when that child rules his entire life, destroying his chance at something real and fulfilling. This self-sabotage runs deep, because behind almost every Puer Aeternus, there's usually a silent force keeping him trapped, the figure of the symbolic mother. In the next part, we'll explore this hidden relationship, how deep psychological dependence on the eternal mother keeps the poet boy stuck, and why breaking free from it is the only real path forward. No Puer Aeternus appears from nowhere. Behind nearly every man who refuses to grow up, there's a silent figure, sometimes loving, sometimes suffocating, who shields him from the world but also stops him from facing it. In Jung's analytical psychology, this figure is called the archetypal mother. When her presence becomes too strong, she turns into the devouring mother, not nurturing life but trapping it. This mother can be literal, a real, overprotective parent who did everything for her son, never letting him struggle, fall, or learn independence. Or it can be symbolic, a partner, a grandmother, or another woman who plays the caretaker role, protecting and comforting him but unconsciously demanding eternal loyalty in return. As a result, the Puer doesn't seek a true partner in the feminine. He searches for a replacement mother, someone who will understand him without asking anything hard from him, someone who will accept him without pushing him to grow, someone who will endlessly support him without expecting him to stand on his own. Without clear boundaries, this kind of relationship feels comfortable but is deeply harmful. It stops the man from facing reality. As long as someone takes care of him, he doesn't have to act, make decisions, or grow up. He stays stuck in emotional childhood, waiting for the women around him to fix the problems he refuses to face, like the demands of adult life. Often, the symbolic mother is trapped too. She thinks she's helping, showing love, but she's actually feeding a cycle of emotional dependence that drains them both. Jung was clear. One of the greatest tragedies is when the mother doesn't allow the child to be born emotionally. This means that while the body grows older, the mind stays young and immature, always searching for comfort instead of strength. Things get worse when the Puer enters romantic relationships. He falls in love fast, idealizes his partner, and expects her to fill the emptiness inside him that he refuses to confront. But when real love demands depth, effort, or responsibility, he pulls away, sabotages the bond, or blames the other person. Deep down, he wasn't looking for a partner. He was looking for a mother disguised as a lover. Breaking this toxic cycle is painful. It demands separation and cutting the emotional ties. But that rupture is exactly what starts true growth. Growing up hurts, but staying stuck in immaturity hurts even more. And that's what we'll talk about next: the path to real maturity and the inevitable price you must pay to leave emotional childhood behind. Now it's time to look at the transformation process, how the Puer Aeternus can stop running away and finally build his own inner foundation. There comes a point in life when the mask starts to slip. Failed dreams weigh heavily. Broken relationships leave deep marks. Life, once wide open with endless possibilities, starts to close in. And then, the man ruled by the Puer Aeternus must finally face the mirror and ask himself, how long will I live like I have endless time? This is the turning point, the moment when the pain of staying immature becomes worse than the fear of growing up. But make no mistake, growing up is not easy. Jung said it clearly: individuation, the process of becoming your true self, is a kind of psychological birth. And like any birth, it comes with pain, struggle, and the death of old illusions. The first step is facing the collapse of your fantasies. It's realizing that life won't wait for you to be ready, that there's no perfect moment and no savior coming to rescue you. It's understanding that the real world isn't your enemy. It's the only place where real life can happen. Maturity isn't about betraying your inner spirit. It's about shaping and strengthening it. But to do this, you must grieve. Grieve the loss of the idealized boy inside you. Grieve the imaginary life you thought you'd live. Grieve the promises that were never kept. And most of all, grieve the loss of the symbolic mother. Killing the boy inside doesn't mean killing your creativity, joy, or dreams. It means you stop using him as an excuse to avoid life. It means allowing the boy to live on, but now under the guidance of the adult you're becoming. Real maturity demands building, consistency, and persistence. It means saying no when it would be easier to run away, and committing even when it's hard. You desire freedom, being able to work with focus even when inspiration doesn't show up, staying engaged in a relationship even after the idealization fades. It's about exchanging the excitement of the new for the lasting strength that comes with consistency. This is where the key lies. When the eternal boy is integrated into the adult man, he doesn't disappear. He transforms. He becomes a source of creativity, vision, and intuition, but now these qualities are channeled by a mature and stable mind capable of acting in the real world. This is true rebirth, when the eternal boy stops running from reality and begins to build something meaningful with it. But this journey is not easy, and it won't just happen on its own. Many men at this stage feel lost and drained, unsure of how to start. They know they need to change, that the time of emotional childhood is over, but they don't know how to take control of their own life. And that's exactly why this video continues, because in the next part, we will speak directly to those who are in the middle of this transition, to those who want to change but still don't know how. The time for truth has arrived, and the decision to grow is now in your hands. If you've watched this far, it's because something inside you recognizes the urgency of what's been said. Perhaps you've seen this pattern in someone close to you, or maybe you've seen yourself in the words spoken. There's no shame in that. None. Because all of us, to some extent, carry the temptation to remain children in a world that demands maturity. We've all avoided responsibilities, dreamed of shortcuts, and wished that life would offer us comfort before we were ready to face it. But the truth is simple and harsh: life doesn't wait. It demands, it requires, it tests, and sooner or later you'll be confronted with the choice to remain trapped in the world of empty promises or finally cross over to a world of fulfillment. This crossing is only possible when you decide to grow, not when you feel ready, not when everything is perfect, but when you make the courageous decision that it's time to stop running. Carl Jung said that the person who doesn't face their own demons will meet them at every corner of life. The Puer Aeternus is one of those demons, hiding under the guise of freedom, authenticity, and misunderstood genius, but in reality, it eats away at your roots and prevents any meaningful growth. It won't disappear on its own. You have to face it, acknowledge it, integrate it, and, above all, choose to rise above it. Maturity is what emerges when you stop waiting for someone to come and save you and instead begin saving yourself. When you understand that responsibility is not a prison but the path to power. When you realize that true freedom is not about doing whatever you want but having enough internal structure to choose what's necessary. Now, I want to hear from you. Which part of this video impacted you the most? Comment below, be honest. Sometimes, writing things down is the first step to shaping what you've felt. If this video made you think, share it with someone who needs to hear it, someone trapped in the same cycle who may not even realize it. And it doesn't end here. The next video is just as important as this one. It will show you another crucial part of this puzzle. Keep watching. It may hurt. Yes, but it will set you free, and in the end, that's all that matters: true freedom.